Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, and Kings Island in Mason, Ohio are two of the world's most premier amusement parks. They are both home to some of the world's greatest roller coasters, and that's why in this video I will be ranking every roller coaster that I have ridden at each of these parks combined. Now, just as a fair disclaimer, this list will not include kiddie coasters, as well as Wild Mouse at Cedar Point, as I have not ridden those. And I rank these rides based on which one I would rather ride in this moment, and assuming I'm sitting in my favorite seat. So, with that being said, let's start the ranking. Starting us off in dead last, we have Woodstock's Air Rail. To be fair, I haven't ridden this since the rebrand. I only rode it as Flying Ace Aerial Chase, but it's a Vekoma hang and bang, and there wasn't much to remember. At number 27, we have Rougarou, and I hate hating on this ride because I know there are people out there who are looking to hate on it. But genuinely, it's not a good ride. The first drop sucks, and none of the inversions are very interesting. Not to mention, after that fourth inversion, which is the corkscrew, the ride literally just meanders for 30 seconds. Not to mention that it's beating you up. I mean, this is about as rough as a B&M coaster can get. You are guaranteed to bang your head when you ride this ride. So, it's really just a skip if you come to the park. At number 26, we have Cedar Creek Mine Ride. I don't remember much about this roller coaster. It's an alright mine train, and that's all there is to really know. I mean, it's fun, but there isn't much going for it. At number 25, we have Iron Dragon. I know this ride has its fans, and I understand why. I just don't think there's a lot of thrill factor going on here. It's rather boring, and it's not as good as another suspended coaster we'll get to later. At number 24, I have Corkscrew, and I know this is a roller coaster that gets hated on a lot. I actually think it's pretty fun. That first airtime hill gives some great airtime, and all the inversions are good. The double corkscrew over the midway is iconic. I just think there are some really good rides here at both of these parks, and corkscrew doesn't stack up quite as well. Post-video me here, I just wanted to correct an error that I made, and that is that I forgot about Snoopy Soapbox Racers. This is a great family coaster. If you know New Vekoma, you know it's glass smooth. I would say it's more on the kiddie coaster side. It really is pretty tame, but that makes it perfect for introducing small kids to roller coasters, and between Corkscrew and the next coaster is where I'd have it on the list. Moving on to a sleeper pick, at number 23, I have Woodstock Express at Kings Island. Considering this ride's about 35 feet tall, I think it's great. It is glass smooth. I mean, any wooden roller coaster this old that's this smooth is impressive, and it actually delivers some pretty exciting airtime pops despite its short height. So despite it being a relatively smaller family coaster, I think this ride's extremely fun, and I think you shouldn't skip it if you go to Kings Island, and it's great for any kid who's looking to get into some bigger roller coasters. I'm gonna catch some flack for this next placement, but I don't care. At number 22, I have Vertigo at Kings Island. I've only ridden this ride once, but I didn't think it was any different from any other boomerang. It's boring, it's rough, I didn't like it. I know it has its fans, and there are people that say it's better. I didn't see it that way. Sorry. Just missing out on the top 20 is the Bat at Kings Island. It's actually pretty aggressive, and the swinging on this ride is out of control. You swing more than any suspended coaster, therefore that's why it's my favorite suspended coaster. However, I think the lift hill is about twice as long as the actual ride, and it's just a flawed coaster overall. Like, I wouldn't say it's perfectly smooth, and there are just rides that are simply better. Kicking off the top 20, we have Queen City Stunt Coaster. That still feels weird. I still call it backlot stunt coaster. This really is the perfect family coaster. It bridges the gap between family thrill and major thrill pretty well. Considering this ride, it's pretty intense. That first helix and that first launch are both extremely punchy, and the ride's got some serious whip to it. But it's also not too intense to where any kid could be deterred. I'd say Queen City Stunt Coaster functions well as a perfect family coaster. Number 19, I've got Blue Streak at Cedar Point. Classic out-and-back wooden coaster. Plenty of airtime. Sure, it's a little bumpy, but it's a wooden roller coaster built in the 50s. What do you expect? It's a great ride. It's got some great airtime pops, and those first two hills are pretty aggressive. The ride is definitely on the shorter side, but it does not fail at providing a quality thrill. Number 18 is Adventure Express at Kings Island, and you know, I go back and forth on whether or not this is my favorite mine train. Is it this one? Is it Thunderation at Silver City? I'll tell you what, this is definitely the best themed mine train I've ever ridden, because wow, a couple of those tunnels are fantastic, and the one the dart even shoots out at you, I think that's hilarious. People like to complain about the ending, and funny enough, this isn't the only ride at Kings Island that has a themed ending that people complain about, but it's also not the only ride at Kings Island that has a themed ending that I think is underrated, because I actually really like it. It's got to get back up to the station somehow, and the theming put around it I think is actually really cool. Adventure Express is a great mine train. 17, I got Flight of Fear, and I know this is a really polarizing roller coaster, and I've always been kind of stuck in the middle on it. On one hand, I think it's really fun. You get an indoor launch, you can't see where you're going. That's great. However, it's no secret that Flight of Fear is incredibly janky. Also, as someone with longer legs, I really struggle fitting in these cars, and I don't know what it is, they're just very uncomfortable to me. So, while the ride is fun, it's just uncomfortable, so it can't rank any higher. I know this ride really has its diehard fans, and I can totally understand why. I can also understand why it's not someone's favorite ride, so for that reason, it's kind of going to sit in the middle of my list. Just missing out on the top 15 at number 16 is Gemini at Cedar Point. I've never had anything against this ride. I think it's fine for what it is. I really like the dueling aspect. You race right against the other train the whole time. The two layouts are exactly the same. I wouldn't say one side's better than the other. Has a couple of great airtime pops. The helix at the end is very intense and fun, and for Old Arrow, it's actually pretty smooth. It's just not the most impressive coaster all around, so I can't rank it any higher. At number 15, we have the Racer at Kings Island. And for a wooden roller coaster that's over 50 years old, it won't get much better than this. The Racer's got a fast-paced layout. It's got bodes of airtime. I would compare it to something along the lines of Screaming Eagle if you've ridden that at Six Flags St. Louis, except the airtime is way stronger and it is twice as smooth. I mean, you will be amazed by how smooth this 50-year-old wooden roller coaster is. You race the other train the whole time. However, it's a little bit outdated, and there are other rides coming up that are more thrilling than it. At number 14, I've got Raptor at Cedar Point. And I know this isn't going to go over well, but before you run off to the comment section, no, I am not a Raptor hater. I like Raptor. It comes down to other things that make me justify this placement. First of all, the one time I rode it recently, on the Cobra Roll, I got an aggressive headbang. I banged my head on each side of the restraint. It wasn't like a tolerable headbang either. It was like an aggressive, like, this thing clocked me. I'm being serious. However, I can appreciate the intense layout. After having ridden 3 B&M inverts, 2 of them being older ones, I've came to determine that it's not really my favorite coaster model. Being bombarded with positive G's just isn't my thing. When I say I want an intense ride, I mean I want a ride with fast pacing that never gives you a chance to catch your breath, not just you're being pinned down into your seat the whole time. I still love Raptor. I can appreciate the good first drop over the midway, the huge vertical loop. That 0G roll's awesome. That ending helix is uber intense. I just don't think Raptor was a roller coaster that was made for me. At number 13, I've got Gatekeeper, and Gatekeeper is just a fantastic ride. It's glass smooth. That first drop and that first valley are actually incredibly intense, but the rest of the ride is graceful. You get some great, like, floating moments. I wouldn't say float or airtime, but you really kind of feel like you're flying, and you're guaranteed to get a great head/leg chopper on the keyholes every time. Really, there's not a lot to complain about when it comes to Gatekeeper. It's just not the most thrilling roller coaster out there. At number 12, yes, our third B&M in a row is Banshee at Kings Island. Now, Banshee is a weird ride with me. Me and Banshee have a strange relationship because I love Banshee's layout. I love the vest restraints on the invert, and I love the big swooping elements. I think it's great, and I think it makes for a better ride than the older, tighter inverts. However, Banshee's got a rattle to it. I think that B&M rattles are just a thing enthusiasts look for in every B&M roller coaster, but Banshee's is serious. Like, some of my rides were flat out just rough. However, Banshee's got such a good layout, it's easy to look past that and appreciate it for what a great ride it is. Just barely missing the top 10 at number 11 is The Beast at Kings Island. Anybody that's a hater of The Beast has not ridden it at night, because I got a night ride on The Beast, and it is one of the best night rides I've ever been on. I've ridden Outlaw Run at night. I would stick it right up there as the second best night ride I've ever got on. Like, you seriously cannot see a thing the entire time, especially when you get into a tunnel. And the layout is boring. Yes, the ride doesn't do anything. Yes. But considering it's the longest wooden roller coaster in the world, and it was built in the 70s, it's really fun for what it is, and it's pretty smooth, too. I mean, sure, there's a bump here or there, but come on, it was built in the 70s. What do we expect? It's got a fantastic sense of speed, and the ride lasts forever. It just doesn't do much with the layout, so I can't rank it any higher. We finally made it the top 10, and I'm starting off the top 10 with a controversial pick, and it is Valraven at Cedar Point. Valraven gets a really bad rep, especially from enthusiasts, and I will literally never understand why. I think it's got a fantastic drop. I mean, that's the gimmick of the ride, right? It's a dive coaster. The point is that it's supposed to have a good drop. But you ride this thing in the front row and you're just dangling over the edge. You got the whole track in front of you and you just fall straight down. Either you're in the front and you get the fantastic view, or you're in the back and you get yanked over those two drops. And it's really just fun layout. Like, I don't understand why people say the rest of the ride is bad. They say it's a one-trick pony. I think that zero-G roll is fantastic. You know, Big Immelman, can't complain with that. I just think it's an underrated ride, and I don't think people appreciate it for what it is enough. At number 9, we have another really polarizing roller coaster, and this is Magnum XL 200 at Cedar Point. Now, one thing about Magnum that I will do as a Magnum fan is I will acknowledge that, yes, this ride is not perfect, and I totally understand everybody who doesn't like it. It is jarring, it is a little bit rough in some spots, and it's very uncomfortable. Like, if you think about it, that lap bar restraint is not comfy, and you are bound to be flung straight into it. However, I can appreciate a ride for what it is. Magnum provides some of the best airtime I've ever experienced in my life, and I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of pain to experience that great airtime. And I think the janky transitions that people complain about just give this ride more character. It feels like a big aero mine train, not to mention all the airtime in between. So I'm definitely a Magnum fan. While I understand why people don't like it, I do. Number 8 is another controversial pick of mine. It is Top Thrill 2 at Cedar Point. Now, I am a fan of Top Thrill 2. I'm not a hater. Me putting this coaster at number 8 does not mean I do not like it. I put it at number 8 on the list. That means I think it's really good. It's just not a ride that is made for me. Top Thrill 2 is more of like an otherworldly experience than it is a roller coaster. You get on the brake run and you're just sitting there like, what just happened? And you're probably thinking, well, that sounds great. In a roller coaster, I look for like elements and how they feel to me, and I'm looking for a ride that's overall just fun. I don't want to sit on the brake run and be like, oh my god, what just happened? I want to sit on the brake run and be like, that was fun, I want to go again. And I wouldn't say Top Thrill 2 delivers that vibe. So don't think it's a bad ride. I love Top Thrill 2. It's just not a roller coaster that was made for me. At number 7, yes, I have it this high. It is Siren's Curse at Cedar Point. I have nothing bad to say about this roller coaster. That tilt track is no gimmick. It is no joke. It is freaky. You know the feeling you get like a Vekoma boomerang when you're hanging on the edge of your seat? Imagine that, but 90 degrees and the track is literally moving. It is not for the weak. It is not for the faint of heart. It is freaky, and the ride after that is fantastic. 2 extremely floaty inversions, tons of airtime pops, and it's about as smooth as a roller coaster can get. I don't really have anything bad to say about this ride, other than the outrageous amount of minutes I had to wait for it. Siren's Curse is genuinely a perfect ride, and I mean that because I don't really have anything bad to say about it. There are rides that are higher for me because I find them more fun. I would understand it if somebody had this as like their 2 or 3 at Cedar Point. It really is that good. At number 6, we have Orion at Kings Island, and Orion gets a bad rap for not being perfect, which it isn't. Orion's not a perfect roller coaster, but I can look past that because it's still a fantastic ride. I mean, already it's good enough to place number 6 on my list. Orion has a 300-foot drop. It is a giga coaster. You can't experience that hardly anywhere else. 300-foot drop. It is fantastic. You are falling for forever. It's got some of the best airtime moments in the park. It's got that fantastic speed hill and that fantastic off-axis hill at the end. I gray out every time on the Orion's Belt Helix, and it's overall just a great ride. There's a lot to complain about only because it's not as good as what it could have been. That doesn't mean it's not a fantastic ride on its own. We are finally here at the top 5 coasters at Cedar Point and Kings Island, and starting us off at number 5 is Diamondback at Kings Island. Diamondback hits you with moment after moment after moment of fantastic floater airtime. You can like feel your legs float up from the seat as the negative G's hit. It's just so much fun and it's so re-rideable. You get off it and are just like, I want more of that. I want to get back on. I could ride this thing all day. I also think it's sad that there's a group of people out there that let some quote-unquote rattle distract them from how fantastic this roller coaster really is. Number 4 was the world's first giga roller coaster, its Millennium Force at Cedar Point. Some of my most fond and nostalgic memories of Cedar Point are riding on Millennium Force. Millennium Force is a marvel. It's an icon. You get off Millennium Force and feel like you've accomplished something. And this is actually the lowest I've ever ranked Millennium Force. The only reason I say that is because for those of you who haven't been to Cedar Point this year, the red train is nowhere to be found. It's been running with 2 trains all year, and I just found that this year it hasn't ran as good as other years. I also find the middle section of the ride to be boring, which I don't like using that word, but it's generally the best word I can use to describe it. It's not like not fun, it just doesn't do much for me in general. Either way, Millennium Force is still a fantastic roller coaster, no matter which way you cut it, and it's hard to not like this ride. And that's why I have it so high. It's fantastic. No hater could ever prove me otherwise. Coming in at number 3, my highest ranked Kings Island roller coaster is Mystic Timbers at Kings Island. Mystic Timbers is just a fantastic roller coaster. It really is almost a perfect ride. It's glass smooth. You will never find a wooden roller coaster smoother than Mystic Timbers. And it's really GCI's masterpiece. It's an out and back layout entirely through the woods. Night rides are unreal. You cannot see a thing back there. Not only that, you're just constantly being tossed out of your seat. You're being twisted in every which direction. It's fantastic. You hit the brake run, you're just laughing. You just want more. You just want to get right back in line and ride it again and again and again. It's so re-rideable and it's so fun. Like, there's really nothing bad to say about this ride. People like to hate on the shed, and normally I'm a shed enjoyer, but last time I went to the park, the shed just wasn't working, which was a huge buzzkill. But other than that, I really have nothing bad to say about Mystic Timbers. It's just so good. Coming in at number 2 is Maverick at Cedar Point. Maverick is one of the most well-crafted rides of all time. To the launch lift hill, to the unbelievable 95-degree drop, to that insane launch in the middle, to the Stengel dives at the end, Maverick never lets up and is a fantastic combination of elements. That 95-degree drop will launch you out of your seat. The snapbacks are whippy, and they even give some lateral airtime. That camelback is insane. That twisted horseshoe roll is whippy. Not to mention that the launch in the tunnel is one of my favorite roller coaster elements ever. It's easily the most forceful launch I've ever been on. You come flying out of that tunnel and just bank left. It's mesmerizing. You don't even know what just happened and you aggressively bank left. The Stengel dives at the end are some of the most whippy and fun elements ever. There are so many fantastic airtime moments. Maverick is just a marvel. Despite not having a lot of height, it makes up for it everywhere else. Ranking all the roller coasters of Kings Island and Cedar Point was not easy, but placing my number 1 was very easy. It is Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. I literally cannot say anything about Steel Vengeance that has not already been said. I've mentioned that some of these roller coasters are arguably perfect. Steel Vengeance is perfect. Steel Vengeance is a flawless roller coaster. There is not one thing I would nitpick or complain about, other than maybe the shin guards and the restraints, which is an extreme nitpick. Steel Vengeance is so many people's number 1 roller coaster, and that is not for no reason. It has the best airtime of any ride in the world. It is relentless. It is glass smooth. It is, to this day, the smoothest roller coaster I've ever ridden in my life. It whips you sideways, up, down, left, right. You are being tossed out of your seat more than you were sitting in it. It is just the most fantastic roller coaster experience ever. I sit on the brake run and come off this ride laughing hysterically every single time because it's just the most fun roller coaster there is. There's no other way around it. Steel Vengeance is like one of, if not the most fun things I've ever experienced in my life. I may never find a roller coaster that I truly like more. With that being said, that's going to do it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. This took an extremely long time to make. These rankings are not easy to make at all. You know, especially if you've been to these parks. But just you watching means a lot to me. I mainly post just for fun and just your guys' entertainment. But if you like this video, check out my channel for more roller coaster related videos. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one.